right, basketball, one of my favorite sports. What's your opinion on strength of a basketball player?
I think basketball's an interesting one. The biggest problem with most basketball players is a lack of proprioception, especially in the high school level. We're talking about
I'd say in high school.
yeah, we're talking about a lot of big guys that have been tall and just bigger than everybody else their whole life, and have never really had to do a lot of things outside of basketball. Like say, most basketball players cannot air squat. Like they don't know how to squat because they've never really had to squat. So so all of those muscles don't know how to work well together. Now we see a lot of injuries in basketball by performing different movements, and it is a hard surface that happens.
That's so fun.
Like we talked about in a previous episode about creating proprioception. If your body doesn't know how to revert to a safe movement pattern, like say a squat, a good, hips back, knees out squat, whenever you go to drop from, like say you go up to lay up the ball, whenever you come back down, you're just going to pop down in any random position.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Right.
I landed in a lot of bad positions when I played.
Right, and we know the primal movement pattern for landing is squatting. Right, it's that normal just collapsed gorilla squat. Right. Well, if you don't know that, you're not going to do that. If your body doesn't know that, you're definitely not going to do that.
Right.
So, teaching those guys basic proprioception is huge. Just learning the primal movement patterns over and over, and then adding load to them. Mm-hmm. And then, it's same with the soccer guys, getting those guys stronger where they can muscle each other a little bit. Mm-hmm. That's huge too.
I will say one of the biggest things that I took away from my time playing was work capacity.
Yeah, I agree with that.
My favorite team is Syracuse. When I was playing, there was a guy named Johnny Flint who was playing for him. They nicknamed him the Energizer Bunny because this man played, I think it was 3 or 4 overtime games. One of them was like 7 overtimes in a row. And they would see him, after the first one, he was squatting. After the second one, he was bench pressing. Like at 2 a.m. that morning, and then he was watching film. He just never got tired. So that work capacity to be able to produce all that force, because he was a little like 5-foot-something guy, and he was dunking on people.
That's a really good point. Like we talked about in our previous episode in soccer. Soccer, your coach is going to condition the crap out of you because it's you have to have the skill on the ball. But if you're out of condition, then you're done. You're irrelevant to the team. In basketball, there's so much skill involved. A lot like baseball, there's so much skill involved in how you can control the ball, how you can shoot, things like that. That they have to spend so much time on that. I think conditioning is probably just, and I've never played basketball, but it's probably just something that you do at the end of practice.
Yeah, usually it depends. But I think the work capacity with weights brings in a whole new element, like the ability to repeatedly produce force. Yeah. More than just running.
Well, you think about it like this, how the whole strength and conditioning world is really thinking about conditioning at this point. If your sport isn't just running, then probably just running isn't the best way to condition for that sport, right? In football, everybody's, I hope, finally coming around to the idea that running for football isn't going to get you in the best condition you can be for football.
Right.
Because it's a lot more than running. Like basketball. Basketball's a lot more than running.
It is.
There's not even really like a ton of running.
Now, I do think basketball does it right where my perception of conditioning is conditioning as a byproduct. So in basketball, we're going to train speed, right? So we're going to have different drills of going, down the court long ways or width ways. Mm-hmm. We're doing suicides, and you have a time. So the purpose of what you're doing that day is speed. That is the main thing you're looking for. But it's like when you look at the CrossFit Endurance stuff and Romanov stuff. You're going to do 8 200-meter repeats. Mm-hmm. That's going to get you faster because you've got this work-to-rest time interval and you're trying to beat these times and all this. But you've accumulated a volume of a mile. Mm-hmm. So your conditioning is your byproduct of your speed. Yeah. And I think that's going to create a much more athletic person.
Yeah, I agree with that. And that's what we've talked about before, because it is definitely a great byproduct of that. If we look at it more of what it actually, of it being something that you're trying to work, mm-hmm. Let's say you're doing all that, but your coach knows, okay, I'm doing all this to condition them as well. Yeah. Well, now all we've done is we've stepped into that new model of conditioning for sport. And we're just saying, okay, we know the time modalities of the sport. We know I'm going to need him to do this for this amount of time, run for this amount of time, control the ball for this amount of time, run this play for this amount of time. So we're just going to do that over and over, with a little bit hindered rest period in between, and now we're conditioning.
And I guarantee you, if you can snatch 100 kilos, you can dunk on people. That's the thing.